All right, back to our actual stream. So this is going to be our fine end game as we've passed our halfway point, relatively. So the storm clouds are now directly overhead, and light is very low in supply. You have now passed nests of bloodhawks, waded through icy rivers, and are deep in Mount Baratok hunting grounds when several yards ahead of you through this sparse growth you see a campsite. And as you draw closer, you realize nothing is living here. Now there's obvious signs of a struggle. There's long scrapes in the dirt, there's fresh boot tracks, there's a damaged corpse laying in a fire pit to give away that scene.
I will cast light on the end of my mace to help. Not everyone will have dark vision. I don't know.
Sure, that definitely helps.
I'm going to get the corpse out of the campfire.
Fair. Okay. Okay. So it's a nice male corpse that, as you pull it out, this body has been partially ravaged by scavengers of some kind because the face has not been attacked as much, but there's definitely chunks that have been taken off, and the back is just torn to shreds. The fur coat that this person was wearing, it gave either little protection or he fell backwards on a very large pile of axes.
One or the other.
One of the two.
I'm going to lay him down respectfully. Is this the male that, from what I can tell, is this the male that we were looking for?
I guess for yeah, sure. Give me a perception check for that. Checking these wounds and trying to check the face.
That is going to be a
Certainly has black hair.
16.
As you pulled this body out and turned him over, the face has drained of blood, and it looks like the damage here is grievous. And the blood that's come out of this body and splattered about a lot of the campsite now that you look about. There's this is Laszlo. This is Laszlo Vaduva. He's got a fur hat. He's got black hair and certainly not tied back in a bun. But the blood that's around here, there's like a kind of a camp tent set on the other side of the fire from you. There's blood from there to here and beyond, and there's just too much blood for one person.
When I saw the elf tracks going away back to town, was there a trail of blood?
0. There would have been none.
Okay. I will let them know it. I think we found Laszlo.
What about the woman?
That's a good
Perhaps
question.
the tent. I'll make my way over to the tent.
I'd be checking the perimeter of this area, seeing if blood trail goes off in a different direction or if it's just in this camp.
Oh, very nice. Give me an investigation check then. You're checking around that perimeter.
It's not. Okay. 12.
12 is fair.
I have a -1.
So there's so with 12 and walking the whole perimeter here, you do spot many tracks kind of going in and out from this camp, and it's generally a little too wild and chaotic. You'd expect some folk on a hunting trip to go out and come in, but besides the boot prints here, there's also there's a lot of wolf tracks here. And Mr. Tree, I'm glad you're the one who did this investigation. There are a few things that other people might have missed, but as a druid, you know the ways of nature and how civilization may need to, come in contact with it safely. There are 2 sets of humanoid tracks here. Both sets lead into the clearing, and then there's that mix of people and wolves. But the freshest set of prints, the last ones that were here, they're the tracks that are leaving the clearing, and they're wolf tracks. And they are heading east, away from the camp, away from Arashnau, and into the foothills of the mountains. There are no humanoid tracks that you spot from your perimeter heading in that direction. Only wolf.
Okay. I'll just stay in that area, just like have them do what they are. I'm just thinking about, okay, so they're definitely this way. What do I do with this information?
All right. What's Hannah doing at this point? So
Hannah would be walking over to the tent after Dantiir to help look into that.
Okay. You can give me what do you want to be checking for at this point for?
She's looking for the lady, but she's also gonna be looking to see if anything interesting was left behind in the snow, like dropped items, any more boots like the ones she picked up before, just to get a sense of.
She wants a full pair.
Yeah, she needs a full pair.
It's good material.
Basically getting a sense of what went on and exactly what sort of chaotic things happened.
I see. You can give me either a survival or nature check to kind of see like what should be here and what shouldn't be here.
I'm better at nature, so we'll do that. 21.
Very nice. Okay. You see all of the wolf tracks that are here between the campfire and the tent and around as well. With your analysis, like you're looking at it and comparing it to like your hand size, putting it down, your foot size, then the boot, you notice a few things. These tracks, they're larger than normal. Like, it was made by a wolf easily twice normal size. They are almost larger than your own boot.
Oof.
And any spots where people would not have noticed is because these prints would have been just not pressed into the snow deep enough, or some snow came down to cover it up slightly. But as you like brush off fresh snow from old snow, these are big. And the other thing that you note is that these canine tracks, they don't look like they came from outside the campsite.
Mm-hmm.
They lead off to the east, and then you spot where Mr. Tree is like standing there, and some of the blood that's there from in front of the tent and at the campfire, and then you see like you're following the last bit of drops, and when you look up, there's Mr. Tree.
So I'd like to make an assumption, and I don't know if all of you will agree.
Okay.
But you know how we were supposed to be out here finding werewolves?
Did we find werewolves?
I forgot.
I feel like maybe we found the tracks of some werewolves.
Are we sure they're not just really big wolves?
They could be.
Okay.
They could be.
I don't know.
As I said, it's an assumption. You know what they say about assumptions.
Is there like? Yes.
Yeah.
I get told it often.
Yep.
No, you just get called an ass.
Speaking
dozen,
of getting
6 or
told, what would Toren be doing? We've had some investigations from one side of the camp to the other. A dead body's been pulled out.
Everyone's sort of just dispersed. So Toren would be maintaining vigilance near the body, just keeping an eye out so that the light source is centered and no one is left in the dark. And trying to keep track of everybody.
Okay, so you see... All right, so Hannah's gone investigating. You kind of see her like start touching the snow and lifting it up, and dropping it like sand. And Mr. Tree is going in and out from other parts of the campsite. Of course, Dantiir has turned this body over. You see him kind of have this look on his face, and is like, it's just puzzled. What you see, because you are holding the light and making sure that you like cast it about, is that something shiny is half buried there in the fire, and it's glinting off the light that you've cast.
I will kneel down and pick it up.
It is, as you pull it out, it's cold, as cold as the ashes of this campfire, and it is very clearly a silver dagger, and it is, as you pull it out, the hilt catches, and it looks like there was something else dropped or placed here, or there's a purple whip here with, at the bottom of it, an amber gem no more than a thumb's width. But as you pull on the dagger and that comes loose, I don't know if you might grab that whip, but definitely as it comes up, in the amber you see movement, and a black slitted pupil looks up at you.
Oh,
looks
no.
to the left, to the right, and then kind of swivels and then kind of closes.
I will drop it and step on it with my boot, like over the eye.
There's like
to
a
keep it covered.
crack.
What are you doing?
You are right next to your brother.
Yep.
Like a rattlesnake.
What did you see? What's wrong with this? What's wrong with the whip?
Oh, Dantiir, you
There-
found a wolf tooth.
You're like, look what I found. No, it's well, first of all, it's purple, which is an unusual color for these.
I like
things.
purple.
Not very. This is not the point right now. The second thing is that it has an eye that moves, and I'm not a fan.
You know, just because something has a moving eye, it doesn't mean it's evil.
I have a moving eye.
I do too. I have 2 of them.
You're not an inanimate object.
He's thinking about that. He's like,
Yeah,
Um,
thinking.
Can I look at it?
oh yeah, she's standing on top of it, but
No, this is directed like to my
Oh.
brother. Can I look at it?
Do I feel like looking at it is a good idea? Like based on what I saw,
you can do
No,
a
I-
religion check. You can do a history check.
yeah, I'll do religion. I'm proficient.
What have they told us back at Kellamvor High?
15. Back on campus.
You know that of the nature of objects, there are cursed items, there are spooky things out in the world that are just placed within easy reach to disturb and disrupt normal populace. At this particular lecture, back at Kellamvor School of Clericdom, your instructor kind of gave a weary sigh and said, "And then there are wizards who just do things. We don't know where the owlbear came from. Maybe blessings from on high. We don't know who made the centaurs half person and half... How do they even... Wizards will do strange things. If you ever come across one, just give them a wide berth anything that they're touching, use gloved hands, and maybe give it a sniff before you place it in your own. And they did teach that of the clerics and paladin sorts, if you were to go out in the world, there's things like such detect or protect from good and evil. Take a look at these things. From what you learned and some examples they had brought in to train you, this doesn't seem to have any spikes. There's no sigils on it that are indicative of like evil gods or any orc writing or infernal on it. There just seems to be, or at least from where you can see it with your boot over the amber eye, you don't see any weird things on it, other than it's purple and there's like some eye that's on the bottom of it.
I just want to take a look.
I will let you look. You are not to touch it. And
Yes,
I'm going to
yes, look
have
with your eyes, look with
Sacred
your eyes
Flame
now.
ready to
Yeah.
burn this whip to ashes
Hey.
if anything happens. And I will slowly move my foot.
I want to take a look at this thing. Like, do like an Arcana check or something to see if I can get a feel for it.
Fair.
Because I'm a horrible cleric and I don't have detect good or evil or anything like that.
19.
You just have common sense. That's fine. Like, if you don't
Yeah.
touch things with eyeballs, you're probably going to be safe. So
You will never hug someone, though. You know, there is that.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Maybe that's why he's so standoffish.
Why do you think I like dead people?
I don't question
they don't
things.
move.
But yeah, 19 Arcana.
Okay, this is clearly a nice magical artifact. That has somewhat of an aura. You can see that the suppleness of this whip has been like handmade. There's braiding in it that the purple is of some sort of natural bark. So this is not a leather whip. This is some sort of purple wood that has been shaved and braided into a whip. So it works as normal. But that amber eye, that's some kind of enchantment on this. And so this is probably some kind of a tool.
Okay.
If we were to sit around for a little bit, I might be able to figure out what this is.
Yep.
That's fair. Artificer's Eye, like looking just from across, you're in the middle of the camp with the campfire, and then you're over there by, Hannah's by the tent. It's like, I think that's a thing. That's
I think I'd be interested in. I mean,
Yeah. You shouldn't be so quick to think something's evil just because it looks weird.
We were talking about werewolves and you're telling me not to be cautious?
I'm not saying don't be cautious. Cautious is good. But don't just write it off. I mean, it's a really nice whip. At least let us find out what it is. If it's evil, I will be the first to chuck it away.
Thought to look for the other target of our assignment?
She was looking.
Well, I followed you to the tent, and then I got distracted by snow. Don't. No.
as you do. Okay. Dantiir,
Not yet.
Do you remember what the other target was? Hannah, do you remember?
Arena? Alina?
It's the lady.
Yeah, with these long flowing hair.
The white-haired pregnant lady whose name is either Arena or Alina because I can't read my handwriting.
That would be Alina.
Alina, okay. Well, don't everyone move at once. I will
I'm gonna
leave
go
the
check-
whip on the floor and
They're all looking
walk
at the
towards the tent.
Hey,
I will keep
gonna-
the silver dagger, though.
hey,
There's
I'm
some
gonna
crusted blood on it, but you know that's how it goes.
I'm gonna scoop it up.
As soon as Toren leaves,
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yep.
Hup.
Yep.
give a nibble.
Um,
The eye looks at you, and then
I look back at it.
It flickers, like it looks to the north side of the campsite, and
Yeah.
like the pupil like flickers that way, looks back at you, flickers twice that direction.
I'm gonna start moving in that direction, calling over my shoulder as I go. I'm like, I think it wants me to go this way, and making very plainly that I'm being sarcastic. Nothing terrible could happen if I go this way. And I'm going to not exit I'm going to stay within the aura of light that the mace has, but I'm going to keep an eye out that way and see if there's anything, like if there's tracks or anything leading out.
There's no tracks leading out, but there's a number of thin figures that are emerging from trees in this direction towards you. They're still a couple feet away, like a good 30, but because the trees are so thin, and Toren's light is kind of moving a little bit west, they're still in shadow until they're within like about 25 feet, and you see there's two young males, and they're coming towards you with like their hands raised, and one of them has over his shoulder this it looks like a partially eaten pig, but it's like the scrawniest. This is like almost a guinea pig type of size.
Can everyone else see the people?
Can we see the people?
Everybody turns like, what? And yeah, at this point, there's two.
Okay, good.
Are they clothed or?
They are clothed. It looks like they are two little boy elves. I say little, but they're like almost 5 feet. They're just young. And I say like, we're so hungry. Do you have anything to eat? And one of them would just like start bursting into tears.
I'm gonna immediately give rations. Like, I'm gonna give them a ration each.
Oh, thank Coralon! And then they both run towards the ration. The one carrying that pig like drops it, and you can see that it is mostly fur. There's been like ribs taken off from it, but it's like, we only found one thing over the last 10 days. And they start opening your rations like, vegetables, fruits. And then following behind them as they introduce themselves like overeating. It's like, I'm the two elves, Nimble and Erlin. There is a third female elf who comes out of the trees, and she is wearing not furred cloak, but she is wearing like leathers, and if she's cold, she's not showing it in any way. But this is an auburn-haired female elf. With what you all know of elves, you think that she may be in her 300s. She's got these piercing green eyes, and she introduces herself as Aya Glenmere.
I will ask Aya in Elvish to sort of try to establish some sort of connection. Do you know what happened here? It couldn't have been quiet.
No. Unfortunately, it was not quiet. We had been in this forest for almost a 10-day. We saw two humans here and trailed them for a while. They were arguing quite a bit, but they appeared to be capable hunters. We were going to ask for their aid, but after a particularly long and loud argument, the man attacked the woman here in this campsite, and she'll point over in front of the tent. We did not want to see what would happen if the man saw us at that point, and we left them alone.
Could you tell why, also in Elvish, could you tell why he attacked?
At this point, Nimble, one of the elves down there with blonde hair tied back in a couple of braids, he's chowing down on, like, I think it might have been broccoli, but so he's got like little green bits around his mouth. It's like, he was so angry. It's something about her family, and that how could she have hidden from him? But I don't think that hating someone's family would deserve to be attacked like that. He cut her straight from. And then Alina will like place a hand on his shoulder. I was like, Nimble, there are some story points that are not very pleasant for company. And Nimble kind of lowers his eyes, like, he hurt her really bad.
Where is she?
Oh, well, after she changed, she went that way.
Changed?
Um,
Oh. 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 Oh.
she grew teeth and fur. She was still bleeding, but she was a different thing entirely. And by now, Nimble and Erlen have both finished.
I was
their
right. My assumptions were correct.
When Hannah says that, Aya will look at you as a human and speak in common. It's like, you know of the lycanthropes?
And Hannah will answer in Elvish. Yeah, doesn't everyone?
At this point, Mr. Tree has no idea what.
What would have been Mr. Tree's response when the first comment spoken in a while was like, you know of the lycanthropes? The lycanthropes?
Oh,
How does Mr. Tree? Does Mr. Tree know about these?
yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I know those.
Those things.
I've heard.
Sure. Then with that bit of information that everybody here is of the knowledge, Aya says that she's originally from Flan on the Moon Sea. She specializes in warding magic, but they were sent here from the Green Hall to investigate their quivering forest. But 10 days ago, they had not been able to find their way back to Green Hall. They were supposed to be looking here for signs of wolves, and worse, dire wolves, big footprints. And they found them, but with what they hit, with the two younglings that she was taking care of, I couldn't finish off the dire wolf that they had come across. And when they were supposed to go back, they've been wandering these woods for these whole 10 days. They saw a little village. They didn't reveal themselves to anybody, but it was going to be their... if they had to, then they would go back. They just weren't sure if they could trust anybody here.
We're not sure if you can trust people either. However, we are... The two people who fought, they were from the village. We were actually sent out here to find them. I'm sure that if you came back with us, we might be able to work out something where you could at least...
I am not sure that is such a fantastic idea, seeing as how one of the people we were sent out to find becomes a wolf, and the people we left claim to know nothing about wolves.
Then the other option is that they come with us.
How long ago were these people fighting? How long ago did you see her turn into a wolf?
It would have just been earlier this evening.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like a week ago or anything like that.
No, we've been following them for a few days, but they were out here too long. The storm is nearly upon us, even now.
Where were you somewhere safe, like from the storm?
It hasn't been snowing terribly. We were able to make a lean-to, but this condition, this is not going to be something that is going to be easily survived.
We should probably find some place.
Okay. They have been tracking between here and Rash now, so they have found a couple of places of at least some tree tracks, you do have basic backpacks and camping gear. There is this kind of larger tent that's here at the campsite. There is a massive storm coming in, and I will say that by our timer, it's going to be here in like 15 minutes.
Well, so maybe we could camp here.
Yeah.
Until it's over.
So you have this campsite, you have your own camping tools, and you can kind of take back the trail that you did. There's also, at the suggestion of Aya and the elves, because of the way that these mountains are formed, there may be like caves.
Caves?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking, Mike. Because if it snows and a lot, if we're in a tent, it might just...
What if we just melt the snow around the tent?
The entire time that it's blizzarding?
Yeah, that's fine.
That could be worth something. She asks, like, are you a wizard?
Not yet. Maybe one day.
Can you do something like that for an entire storm?
Yeah, you just, have a torch and you stick it in the snow.
That's going to survive a blizzard.
I'm just coming up with ideas. I'm not,
Fair.
workshopping here.
I can roll with that.
Okay.
Personally, I would say cave.
Before we go anywhere, I would like to finally actually check inside the tent.
I don't see why you have to, but okay, fine.
That would be a good idea.
So in the tent, you do find furs and bags. They're just piled and piled. There's at least 4 stacks here. And there's like anywhere else it would be like a card table. It's just a very small, very simple, put together sets of wood slats. And on it there are pieces of polished bone and antler.
Mm.
And there's even like a pack in the corner that has a short bow with a few arrows and some salted ham. Although the ham's been just ruined by this weather. There's also on the table. There's like there's very few things on it. There's like the bones, the antlers. The other thing that's here is there's like ink stains on this table, and they're fresh. Like there's not exactly a wetness to them, but you can wipe them. And there's no pot of ink here, though. But you have found a lot of furs, a tremendous amount.
Mm.
I would like to collect the furs to bring them back to the town.
Okay. It
And
looks
they'll
like
also
they've been tied with straps, so they'd be carryable.
Well, I can
Probably
also
keep
put
us
them in my
alive.
bag of holding.
what?
Artificers.
Yeah. If no one else objects, Dantiir is going to move towards the bow and arrows and grab those and pick them up.
Are our new companions armed?
They have short bows.
Okay.
They do look fair near exhausted and close to death.
Mhm.
Like this, other than the boar that they had to, the small boar that they had to share between each
Piglet.
other. Yeah, over 10 days. Aya is usually able to like cast things. So far as she can do is like a very minor healing.
I'm
word
going to
deal.
take up the salted pork, because I do have purify food and water, so
Okay.
I can probably turn that back into a manageable meal when we get somewhere.
Yes, that would be nice.
I can offer them a boot to chew on.
Also, with the ignoring the boot, is there anything like with the ink stains? Is there any like anything to like give an idea of what? Like, is there a void in the ink stains that might show it was like, oh, they were writing on a piece of parchment, or it was like bigger than that? If it was like.
Oh, that's
Is there
interesting.
anything to oh, it was tiny, so they were like doing something, but anything to give me any hint as to what they were doing? or like, is it a kind of ink that is specific to something?
I guess roll me either a history or an investigation check.
Okay, this will be investigation. That is going to be a dirty 20.
Very nice. So this looks like it is ink of the origin's a little difficult to place because of it's been dry enough and no pot around here. But the markings that are on the table, they do look like they have been displaced and cleared and written on a few times, but they're at about a few inches of clearness each time that there are like ink sprays. So it might have been like a very small book or maybe a list.
Okay. Okay.
This doesn't look like any sort of arcanic ink, so no spell work.
Okay. Yeah, that's all for me.
Okay. Then for the group, and that there is a storm a-coming. The wind has picked up a tremendous amount. Everything is shaking that is outside. Even parts of the campfire ash have been blown away, and you can see it coming down from the north of the Baratok Mountains there, according to the map. Just like this wave that in the distance almost looks like a sheet, maybe an aerial avalanche, but there is snow coming your way very quickly. Where do you want to go, or what do you want to do?
I feel like at this point we're better off in the tent because we might get lost if we go looking for caves that we might not find.
That's one vote. Tent.
I'm with the will of the group.
He looks to his older brother.
I don't make decisions for people.
No, but you know things occasionally.
I do know things sometimes. Realistically, yes, it's a tent, but small space, body heat. We have furs. We have things we need.
Wonderful.
It's a known location. And he just starts rambling off like a bajillion facts about why staying here would be good.
What's Mr. Tree doing?
I'm just like nodding, like, yeah. These are all valid points.
Very well then. Shall we get inside?
Okay. Artificer, did you want to set anything up to assist in saving and keeping all of you warm?
I mean, she can set fire to things.
Great.
Same.
So I mean, she will set fire to things.
Okay. There's
I
trees
think,
around the campsite. There's
there a
fire pit.
There's a fire pit, but is there any sort of like is the tent set up so it has like a smoke opening?
Yeah, there's a flap at the back that, if needed to, it can basically be unstrapped so that there could be.
So we could have a fire in the tent.
Yes.
Okay, well then that's fine. She'll build a fire in the tent.
Okay. So it's large enough. It's family-sized in here. There will be some difficulties that come up, but we'll try to weather this out. All right.
Weather.
We'll cuddle.
But yeah, no, we'll usher the elves inside too.
Nice. Okay. So elves inside with you. So you've got Aya, you've got Nimel, you've got Erlin, and the four of you. So it's a tight fit. It's
Yeah, because I'm huge.
there's a lot of backs against a lot of walls. The table's taking maybe a lot of space.
Well, I thought we could burn the table.
Or at least collapse it.
Take it out.
It's probably better. It's on you. I'd say like that would make good firewood for this point.
Yeah, I say we use it as firewood.
Nice. Okay.
Wonderful.
The storm hits. The wall of ice and snow is tremendous. The wind is threatening to tear this tent straight off the ground, and the stakes outside are rattling in that. So this is going to be a couple of survivals or other skills here. For Hannah, I need you to do an Arcana or a sleight of hand. Your preference on this for keeping this fire going.
I don't know if I did an Arcana.
Nice.
15.
Okay. So this is various small bits of magic that in your artificery works. You've got different tools that can be used for this. You've got that fire blazing, and certainly with at least those bits of table, you're keeping the inside of this warm. Everybody on the outer edges, like your backs, are freezing, and the tent flap is really difficult to keep closed. But from the center of the tent, there's at least a good amount of heat. From Dantiir, what are you doing to help you guys survive?
Well, one thing I can do is are we able to like rest and take a sleep? Like, is it going to be that long of a blizzard?
That is something that you do not know, but you can try to start something.
Well, if people do like start resting, I'm going to do a song of rest as they go. I'm going to pull out my little fiddle and start playing.
Excellent. Okay. So providing some music in here to kind of calm
and
people.
Anybody who is injured will get plus 1d6.
Okay.
For if they respend hit dice to get.
I want to say that while this is happening, and we're still going to check with what everybody else is doing, that there's going to be at least an hour of pure storm and wind. So with this, if you decide to use a short rest and recover with hit dice, Dantiir's song brings the sun to your heart.
I'm doing that.
Yeah, ditto.
And I'm back to full.
Ditto.
Nice.
Do I gain the benefit from that as well?
Yes, you do.
Okay. Because I'm going to do that.
All right. What's Mr. Tree doing in this hour of woe and darkness?
Is there any way that I can try and because I'm a pretty strong guy, is there any way that I can try and sort of fortify, keep it from just flying off in a way?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So with, let's see, what would it be? From this tent, at the very least, at the door flap, that's going to be a weakness. Yeah, so just holding down, tying some ropes together so that that's more secured, latticed up where it needs to be. This is a pretty good tent. But with Mr. Tree there, I need Mr. Tree to do either an athletics or a survival check to really get this thing down.
Survival's better. by one, but it's still better.
It is.
Okay. That's not terrible. That's 17.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, this is not your first rodeo. This brings you back to many field trips that you've taken your students out on. Your students that you no longer have with you. Because some of them have graduated, of course. Some of them are fine. And they're fine. So
I'm facing away from the group.
single tear. It's like, if only I had taught them these knots. All right. And how about Toren? How's he keeping up?
He will be feeding everyone because nothing distracts you from horrible things like food. So purifying that salt pork and combining it with the rations and using the fire to cook delicious smells make you always feel warmer than you actually are.
Nice. Okay.
Aww.
So that's about all he can do.
All right. That is going to lift your level of exhaustion. So you no longer have to have disadvantage on these skill checks.
I am best chef.
Nice. And everybody else, you get to have some pork. And the elves are overjoyed.
Hey, pork.
That it was probably going to go bad, but now it's fine.
Magic.
Magic.
It's fine.
So the storm has been raging now for a good hour. The wind is still rough on the outside, but between Mr. Tree literally holding down the fort, Hannah keeping things warm, Dantiir keeping morale up. Even Toren might admit, uh,
I wouldn't say it out loud.
not out loud, but he has some skill. Some.
I play your favorite song.
Oh, I hate that song.
It's probably something dour and sad.
It's like
Probably a funeral dirge.
It's a funeral
No joke.
march, but I play it at an upbeat tempo, and it's major instead of minor key.
All right. So when you all do at least rest a bit, and the storm is still raging, of course Toren has kept everyone fed, and so there's not an immediate danger here unless the storm gets worse.
Which it does.
Everybody roll me a perception check. This is a little difficult because of the storm.
Going to be 18.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I'm so used to my perception being good, but that's 7.
Okay, so we got an 18, we got a 7, and from Toren, what do we got?
21.
21, and Hannah a 19. Okay. There is a noise from the outside. It is a howl, and it is a large howl. And Erlin and Nimmel, who were munching down on some pork together, says like, "This is much better." They still have like little tusks as like familiar, as like keepsakes from the boar they had, but the tusks are like an inch tall. It was like a pet pig somewhere.
Oh no.
They
Somebody's really sad.
it's like we had to eat, we had to survive. They stop and they look up and look at each other, and then they look at Aya, and Aya closes her eyes like, "Oh, Corlan, please let it just be one, just be." And then there's another howl that you all hear, and because you've got a nice group check, this howl you understand is not only closer, but you also notice the shape outside your tent. The shape that is a very large and dark shadow on the outside of the tent. And so you will not be surprised, but you are certainly startled when there is a large rip comes right through the side of your tent, and in peeking is a snout of the largest wolf you have ever seen. At least until you see the white wolf behind that one.
No.
Dun dun dun.
And I need you all to roll for initiative. You're not surprised.
Gosh.
Okay, that's not terrible.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I forgot to select my thing. So I'm a fort. Let me do it again and I'll edit it. I keep forgetting to select.
Oh, Keyless, I love you.
I got
Got a nat 20, so 21.
Nice.
17.
All right.
Druid.
All right. I've got 17 for Dantiir. Hannah, you're good at a 14?
Yep.
Okay. Toren, you've got a 13. And Mr. Tree has a 20. Is that right?
21.
21. That's the one.
Yeah.
Nat 20 though. Nice.
Okay. And then let me just get here for the wolves. And 14. That'll be good for both. Okay. So that means that I'm going to say that the elves are still recovering, and we're not going to worry about them interrupting you fine adventuring folk. But if you need them to do something, you give them a command. You've got Aya, she's older. Erlin and Nimmo are kids, but they're there. So, Mr. Tree, you're up. There's 2 wolves there. One is immediately not in front of you because you're holding down the door, but they're near everyone else, and it's like peeking in there, and it looks like there's a little bit of drool there, and there is a lot of snow outside.
Okay. Just as a sort of, hold on, I've never done this before. What does this do? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. What does that one do? Okay, I'm gonna immediately just like sort of nervously. It looks like I'm sort of like trying to cast a spell, but like a kind of spectral bear spirit appears because I have a spirit totem.
Nice.
Part of my circle of the shepherd. And so what the bear spirit does is it grants everybody 7 temporary hit points.
Ooh.
Nice.
Very
You all
nice.
have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws while you're in. It's sort of like an aura. So like as long as you're within 30 feet of this bear.
As long as we're in the tent.
Sure.
Yeah, basically. As long as you're within 30 feet of this bear aura, you get those temporary hit points.
A Bora, if you will.
Sure. I have no idea if
I get told that my jokes are
I get
bad.
it too. Okay. That
Oh, that's
was a
fair.
bonus.
That's pretty good. So that's a sacred bear totem right over this fire that's in the middle of this tent, and this wolf peeking in. All right, then that means Dantiir, you're up before the wolves go.
I am going to retch on my violin as not retch, throw up, retch is in like swift jerking motion. And I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers on the one that is poking its snout through. So it needs to make a wisdom save.
Gosh. It's going to get a 19.
Okay, that works, so it doesn't have to run away from me. But it is still going to take some damage.
That's important. It doesn't have to run away from him. But it
doesn't.
can if you want.
And if it wants to. There you are.
I'll keep that in mind.
So that is going to be it is going to take 5 points of psychic damage.
Oh, that's a lot. Okay. Well, relatively a lot here. You see it kind of shake its head, its muzzle, and it's definitely feeling that. Maybe a little more than usual. But it like there's a very exaggerated slump as it has this headache, and then it just growls.
And then I'm going to move to put myself in front of the boys.
Okay. So moving yourself in front of the boys, placing yourself there. So there's a little bit of space now between the wolf and here. There is some low waffles from outside, like where the white wolf is, and the one that was hit with the psychic assault moves back, and the white wolf leaps into the tent. And let's see, there's a lot of ice on this white wolf's coat already, and it is breathing heavy, and there's not blood coming from its mouth or anywhere on its head or face, but as it leaps in, Dantiir, you protect the boys from this like splatter of blood, and it's coming from the wolf's belly side. There is like blood dripping from that. This white wolf, though, will come in and will be attacking. Let's see, you were here. I would say there should be somebody between you and Dantiir. It may be a quick. It's going to be Toren. Yeah. So this white wolf is going to attempt a bite on Toren. So this is a 15 versus armor class.
Does not hit.
It bites on what you have covered your armor with, and its head just shakes. Didn't seem to like that. And now it's Hannah's turn.
Yep. She's gonna shoot it with one of her silvered bullets. And she's gonna say, "Everyone, put your hands over your ears."
You cup away.
That's fine. It's just like a cannon going off.
Yeah.
In a tent. Well,
It's
you're
probably
inside
just
it.
because it was only a 10 to hit.
So the 10 means that it digs into this wolf's pelt, but then it leaves like a trail along it. There's like burnt fur, and it melts some of the icicle off, but the wolf like ducked at a certain point, so that it just left a raise of burned skin on the back. But you see,
That was a warning shot.
go. Is that what you say out loud to it?
Yes.
All right. The wolf turns its like shaggy head to you and to the cannon, and then gives a woof.
Woof back at you.
It's sniffing in the air, and it seems to be looking like left to right in the room. Toren, it's your turn.
Toren? Are we frozen? Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm. Do I think this is Alina?
That's a good question.
Do
Toren,
you?
do you? Do you think this might be Alina?
I think this might be Alina.
If you think this would be Alina, what would Toren do? The elves told you that Laszlo attacked Alina.
Mm-hmm.
The blood on the ground says that Laszlo was killed, and that there was a lot of blood on the ground.
Yep. I will.
I love hard choices.
Right. I will call out to her. And is she still attached to my arm?
Oh, sure.
Okay. I'm going to touch her. And please don't hate me, everyone. I'm going to cast Cure Wounds
Oh.
and tell her that we mean her no harm.
Okay. How much that cure wounds cure? She technically did not get shot.
It was a warning shot.
Warning shots.
Right. Well, because I see the blood and I assume I don't know why it's not letting me cast it on there, so I'll just roll for it.
Sure.
Ooh, that's not bad. 7 HP.
Okay. So the wounds from Alina's stomach do start to regenerate, and some of the ice even melts off of her head. At which point she looks and lets go with her mouth from Toren's shield arm, and looks kind of mournfully into your eyes, Toren, and looks up at the tear in the tent, and this white wolf backs up and starts turning away.
And I will tell everyone to just let her pass.
Okay. Mr. Tree, what are you doing? There is a big hole in this tent now.
Oh.
It is getting really cold really fast.
Oh gosh.
This could turn into a deadly field trip.
Mm, mm.
There are two wolves outside. They seem to. One has definitely backed off, and the other one has just turned away.
Well, he's not happy that the tent's fudged, like messed up, but I can't think of a way to like easily patch it, except for the other little tents that we already have.
Hmm.
Do I want them to walk away though?
That's the questions.
Oh dear.
And we're gonna make it fast as we have some time remaining.
I know. Okay, I'm just gonna try and just like sort of like throw up my hands and just like sort of like try and like get like another tent to sort of like try and patch up.
You've got backpacks. You guys have canvases for this.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna ask from you either. Oh, what would be a nice? Do you have a skill for that? I would probably either ask for survival, or yeah, survival or something else that you think might be appropriate there. If you have any tools.
I just have an herbalism kit. That doesn't
That's
help
probably not gonna throw that onto the fire. We'll not have to worry about this. Okay.
I'm just gonna try and just survival it, because I'm okay at survival.
Sure.
Okay.
MacGyver
Right. Please don't be terrible.
Bamboo and coconut.
That is a 13 plus 4, 17.
Oh, not bad. Okay. So maybe taking some of those polished bone antlers, it's a needle for sewing. And take some leather straps from boots, from the one boot that you had found, and sew that tent together, because it was a 17 survival. You are getting a makeshift thing here. You're going to need to stay warm in this thing, but you have at least patched the big hole. That's a nice save, that part. Okay. Dantiir, your brother just told the wolf to go away, called it Alina, and
it went away.
And it went away. She also healed it. What are you doing? You gonna leave it like this?
Yes. I am going to keep my eyes out in case they circle around, and I'm going to continue putting myself between where I think the wolf is and the children, and I'm going to pull out my rapier and ready and hold an attack in case they come back.
Nice. Okay. So a nice ready to attack on for a couple of minutes, seconds, hours. The storm rages on, but from outside there are two more howls heard, but away from your campsite. And maybe an hour or two more pass until the main part of the blizzard does wear itself out, and there are no more howls that you hear, but you all have survived this very, very cold night, and there's definitely wolf tracks that were around the tent, that just the closest part to the tent had been protected or frozen over. The rest of the powdered mountain, not quite sure where anything could be. It's almost like a small avalanche outside. There's like at least 2 feet of snow around the coldest parts of the tent, the ones not warmed by the fire. And you have survived the night. And it is...
Yay!
I didn't make a horrible decision.
All right.
Dantiir's gonna like go up to his brother, give him a hug, and say thank you.
Oh.
All right. For the last 4 minutes, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? It is now morning. The elves are okay for traveling.
I say that we take all of their stuff and bring it back to the village and just sort of tell them they're dead.
I mean, we got their furs, so that's what
Yeah.
they needed, right?
The thing is, what do we tell them? Because we don't want to say they're dead and then have Alina come back.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll tell them
We
that.
never saw Alina.
Yeah.
Laszlo was dead. We didn't see where Alina went.
Yeah.
What if they
Perfect.
make us go and try and find her, though?
Well, they can't make us do anything.
We say no.
Something tells me she'll find her way back.
All right. So then I'm not going to need you to roll survival for getting back to the village. You can trek the way that you did. There's still a rope tying 2 trees across the river. The Aya and Nimel will... Aya will help Nimel across. Erlin is walking across the rope, as elves do when they want to show off. And so when you get back to Orash now, do you turn over those furs that you had?
Some of them.
Hannah.
What?
I give them all the birds. In just like
They can
one-
have the ones that I pull out and give to them. I don't know if I'm pulling.
How many
them
are you
out.
giving them?
How many were there?
There were 4 stacks.
Oh, how many in a stack?
Of each of the stacks, that would have been about 10.
They can have 3 stacks.
Okay.
What are you doing with the... Okay.
Hey, you guys don't know what's in my bag.
We
That's very true.
do know how many stacks went into the bag.
Yes.
I mean, one got lost. There's a lot of shit in my bag. Don't make me sit here and dump it out and go through it all day because
I mean, I would like to see what's inside, just out of curiosity.
you can stick your head in there.
Don't do that.
I'm not going
Probably
to.
not, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So you take those back. Those furs with the 3 of them that are turned in, that's certainly worth 75 gold in that way. And Grigori himself will kind of take that, take it off your hands, so that it's like, oh, bless the Lord and the land. We will have something to trade with the Vistani this winter. And of the stuff that you also take, what did you do with like the bone antler trinkets?
I mean,
I have a boot if he wants to trade it.
I'll give them all the birds in my chest. In the
Is there any of them that look exceptionally nice, or that might like work as a handle for a dagger?
Oh, the
Of the bones? Oh yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Like these have been worked, so they could work
Right.
with that.
I'm gonna keep one,
Mhm.
and I'll hand over the rest of them
Okay,
for trade in.
sure. So those trinkets that you do turn over, that'll be worth 10 gold there.
And I will return what I'm assuming is Laszlo's silver dagger.
Oh, who are you returning to? I mean, he'll buy it definitely.
Well, no, not like, does Laszlo have family? I'm not going to be like...
That's a good question. And if you might maybe are asking that, just like,
Yeah.
hey with any
Because
more
they should know he's deceased.
family? They say Grigori lets you know that the Vaduvas had a cabin there just on the outside of town. It's like one of the last buildings there, but it is something visited. But other than that, there was Laszlo came from far away. He like a place that no one had quite heard of, and Alina's family, they never talked about them. So nobody in the village knows.
Where she came from?
Yeah, where she came from. So she was. Laszlo always said when they talked about it that she was a lucky find when he went on a hunt one day.
Ooh.
Question.
So there is an empty cabin there in the town now.
Would we have had enough time for the artificer to take a look at the whip while we were in the cabin?
I mean, if you wanted to hand it to me.
I'll let you look at it.
I mean, it only takes about 10 minutes for me to figure out what it is.
Okay.
think that would
I'll
work.
join you in like a hand circle holding it.
Okay. So I'm gonna do identify.
Okay.
Uh,
So when you do identify on it, this is clearly a magic object. This is a whip of warning. And so when you are attuned to this whip, you cannot be surprised. And let's see here. And you actually gain yourself, if you are attuned to it, advantage on initiative.
Cool.
So I'm gonna let you know that it's just a standard magic whip. I mean, all it does is look at shit.
Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Yeah, no, I'll attune to it.
Cool. Okay. So we got whip, got that, got you certainly you have the still of the scroll of create bonfire.
I'll create bonfire, and I'm going to keep the dagger because I have a feeling it was used to attack Alina, and that's
Certainly
bad
did damage.
So I'm going to keep that.
All right, you have one silver dagger.
Okay.
Cool. All right, and Grigori will be taking over. You know, the furs and the trinkets. You have everything else of the birds. He says, like, we could fry them up. That'd be a good meal. All right, and you've got dinner then. He offers the elves places to stay. They have a little bit of coin. He offers you all a place to stay. It's either here or at here. There's a seven table. The nearest tavern here has a couple of rooms. Is 7 tables, and they have like 4 rooms. But the prices are a bit higher though.
Or there's an empty cabin. You said there's an empty cabin.
Aye, there's that. Do you want to take over the cabin? There would technically be no claims on it.
Yeah, let's do that.
I'm sure in this time, all of us pitching in together, you finding the furs, the Burgomaster Randovich will be perfectly fine with you taking over that. And so he doesn't have keys for this place, but he'll certainly let you see where it is. And there's windows, so technically you always have a way in.
I can pick the lock.
Okay. Then you have a cabin for all of you. There's like old furs there. There's a rocking chair. There's a wooden crib that's unused in the corner. And a nice fireplace.
Baby shoes only worn once.
Oh, it looks like this.
No.
This one doesn't look like it has been used. Actually, give me... No, a blizzard came through. So, there's not a lot here to find. You do on later in another night, maybe hear another howl, but this one is very different from the one that you had heard on the night of the blizzard. This one is a deep and long howl, and there is no one to answer it. Cool. And that is our adventure for today.
Yay!
We did it, guys. We survived.
We didn't die.
You didn't. I thought it was going to be close for a while, but you did a lot of
Strahd?
teamwork.
Was that Strahd? Did we beat him?
That's it. That's Curse of Strahd, guys. It's a short one, but
Oh, that was Strahd at the end, actually.
Gah!
It was the other wolf.
So, you know. So that was good work.
Awesome.
So between all of you, this is something that you can keep track of because this will be difficult to find otherwise. I'm going to go ahead and divide this by 5. Miss Misery's character of Segrid would have been eventually turned up here in Rashnau, and was lost in mist and blizzard and has been unconscious and feverish for like at least 24 hours.
Lovely.
But she was traveling with Hannah for a while, and you're very surprised that she had not shown up with you. So I'm going to say that to each of you, and for Miss Misery as she shows up, you'll have 17 gold added to your character sheets for turning in those furs and the trinkets.
0.
One of you has a whip of warning. You could decide who that is.
Don't worry, guys. It's okay. I've got a boot.
One of you has a boot.
It looks at things. And my brother didn't want me to have it.
And then, let's see, 25 times 5, right? Oh, plus Alina. She was worth a lot of points. And let's see, divided by 5. And you will each have 205 more experience points. No, wait. You saved all the elves.
We did.
So, that would be 225 experience points to each of you.
Ooh, see, Hannah, when you help people, good things happen.
225, you said?
Yep. You guys
Nice.
get very strong. Nice. And you at least have a place to stay here in Orash now. The blizzard has certainly closed up a lot of the mountain passages, but you'll be free to move about soon as the snows melt a little bit more.
Does that mean that since, like, we would imagine that we were just at the cusp of second, which was like 300 experience points, so we just add the 225 to that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think so.
Yes.
Awesome.
So I think second is at 300, so technically you should have 525 experience points.
Yes.
Yes.
Cool.
Awesome.
Nice. Yay! Good work, everybody. Miss Misery, if you're out there, we'll see you in the next week. We'll be very glad to have you in there.
Yes.
This is a good team, and it's only going to get better with you. And for everybody else who is watching or watching this on later broadcast, we're going to be doing this every Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, up to about 8:30, 8:45. We ran a little long on this one, but I really wanted you to finish this. You were so close. You were so close to winning everything, and you did it. You did it.
We did it.
And the elves didn't die, and we didn't kill Alina, and
Yeah. And there's just like an empty crib somewhere here in the house.
We're just in their house.
yeah, we're just sleeping. She's gonna show up in the middle of the night, and is like, "What are you guys doing in my house?"
Don't worry, I saved her life. It'll be fine.
It's nice you didn't kill me and all, but
Yeah, she took that thorn right out of her midsection. That's how it goes. All right. With that, I think we'll close out today's session and thread, and we'll see you all next week.
Good night.
Night. Thanks for the game, everybody.
Have a good night.